We are checking out cut content for Lord of Mysteries episode 2. Onion News is back with another video. Episode 1 needed 2 cut content videos, by the way. That's how many chapters they're adapting. So I wonder if this cut content video is also gonna be in 2 parts, or you can cover everything in one 20-minute video. So let's jump into it. Also, before we jump into it, please go like Onion News original video first. And if you liked your content, subscribe to them as well.
We are guardians, but also a bunch of miserable wretches constantly fighting against dangers and madness.
Yep.
Such a quote defines what it means to be a Beyonder, but for Klein, becoming one meant something a little bit different. It was all part of his efforts to get back home. Still, choosing to do so wasn't easy, and gaining the rights to become one was even more difficult. We just didn't get to see it since the whole event—
Oh, yeah, true. In the novel, it took a lot longer, right? Also, I think he was given a choice to be a civilian as well in the Nighthawks.
which earned him that right was left out. There was a whole cutscene involving this guy and Klein's assistants
This guy was talking, right?
in capturing him. Aside from this are the insane amounts of lore the anime simply can't include, so if you're curious to know more about different sequences, Roselle's diaries, Beyonder powers, or just grasp the story a little bit better, stick around as this will cover all of that. Let's get started. Episode 2,
Let's go.
Beyonder, covering chapters 19 to
What's a Beyonder, guys?
the web novel. With Klein now aware of all the risks associated with becoming a Beyonder,
Losing control, yeah. Death, insanity.
it was also important to know they weren't as powerful as he might imagine.
Wait, what? The sequence 9 and 8 are not as powerful, right?
Becoming a Beyonder, it was also important to know they weren't as powerful as he might imagine. When it came to guns or any other ranged weapons, a low sequence Beyonder really wasn't any match for them.
Depends on the pathway, right? Some low sequence Beyonders are stronger than others, right? I think different pathways obviously have different strengths, and they might, end up being equal at the end. Yeah, I mean, I think Sequence 9 Warrior will beat Sequence 9 Mystery Briar really easily, right?
That
But there are
being the
different
case,
things, exactly.
It was yet another thing to consider when choosing to venture down this path of his. The main things to be wary of would always be the influence of the potion, though, so as long as he didn't consume the wrong potion and took his time to grasp control.
It's good that he was reading the diary first, by the way. The only reason why he took the Seer pathway potion was because Roselle was saying that, oh, I regret not taking the Seer pathway.
Of his powers, the risk of losing control himself would remain low. Why would Klein even bear all that risk in the first place, though? Well, you gotta remember it was solely to find a way back home.
Yeah.
If he was ever gonna return to the life
Aw,
from which
his
he
friends.
came from, then Klein knew he needed to understand the essence of mysticism here. Now, a key difference that leads to a major story shift in the novel is that even if Klein wanted to become a Beyonder right now, he wasn't allowed to since he still needed to prove himself.
Yeah,
Whether
yeah.
that be by
But I understand that in the anime it happened really fast. There's no proving yourself to become a Beyonder. But I'm guessing that's right now what Onion News is covering, so let's watch.
interpreting critical ancient documents or something else, his position mostly depended on the arrangements of the higher-ups. How then did Klein proceed to prove himself? Well, that's a bit of cut content we'll talk about later on in this video.
Okay, let's go.
For now, Dunn would go on to explain the responsibilities of all the other civilian staff members.
Our civilian staff members too, attending visitors, cleaning rooms. There's secretaries then, basically. Guarding the area, I guess. Writing case files. They're basically secretaries.
These were the tasks Klein believed he would be responsible for as well, but as it
Cleaning the bathrooms, basically.
turns out, Dunn had something else in mind. His only tasks were to find hints of the notebook's whereabouts and read all the literature in the armory.
They were gonna, if Klein was a civilian member, they were gonna make him a special case where he only tracks down the notebook. Or not tracks down the notebook, but the information about that. Tracks down the information about the notebook, sorry.
Next, Dunn would point out the large structure known as the Chanis Gate, identifying
Chanis
it
Gate.
as a core component under every central cathedral in every major city.
Also where the sealed artifacts are kept.
It was founded by the man who created the Nighthawks, and behind it lay potion formulas, magic materials, and even a holding ground for heretics, mutants, cultists, or other nefarious
More stuff
people.
then.
The gate is always guarded by at least one formal Nighthawk member, and inside are 2 keepers provided by the church.
I see, okay.
Countless traps defended it as well, so under no circumstance was Klein to ever go beyond the Chanis Gate.
I wonder if we're gonna ever see some secret organization breaking into our Chinese Gate. I wonder if they do that, if maybe that's the start of the Dingen Doomsday or something. Because Dingen's Doomsday is coming up in like 20 days or something like that. 30 days, 10 days. It's somewhere in September 1349. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way.
Inside were all sorts of classified documents and records. Then, in the basement were items known as sealed artifacts. These were extraordinary tools that, if placed in the wrong hands, could cause immense destruction.
Sealed artifacts go from grade 0 to grade 4, right? I wonder how strong the grade 0 artifacts actually are.
Some even have certain living characteristics, and that can
Yeah,
go
like the Onticonus one.
to influence their surroundings, attempt to escape, or try something even worse. So, in a way, these sealed artifacts were kind of like SCPs. Anomalous type.
People keep mentioning SCPs. I don't know what they are. What's the lore behind CCP? CCP, also I think CCP 2130, like, yeah.
Entities that needed to be strictly monitored and controlled. These artifacts are also graded on a scale where at the
grade 0 to 4, okay.
top they were extremely dangerous and not to be talked about in any
Talked
capacity,
about.
while anything lower could be used with specific limitations or basic care and moderation.
Okay.
The lowest
I wonder if we're gonna see a grade 0 soon.
grade was still considerably dangerous, but as long as it was used carefully, it could be brought out for operations that required 3 or more people. Now, to quickly know how dangerous an artifact was, one simply needed to look at the numbering. For the one in episode 3, this was 2-040.
Okay, so he corrected himself. 2-049, yeah.
Grade 2 sealed artifact number 40. Dunn would then mention a corrupted archbishop who lost control and stole one of the most dangerous artifacts the church had, but that's a story I'm sure will be mentioned later.
Why do you say that then? Why would he say that? I'm so curious, I want to listen to it again.
Dunn would then mention a corrupted archbishop who lost control.
Because Dunn mentioned that. Okay.
Stole one of the most dangerous artifacts the church had, but
want to learn more about that.
It's a story I'm sure will be mentioned later. Of the foreshadowing they did give, though, it was received like a very ominous warning.
I wonder if it's gonna happen again.
Since this was one of the artifacts they couldn't even keep records on. Everything about it needed to be passed on verbally. Never could it be written into words. It was after this that Klein would be sent.
Wait, why does Don Smith keep coughing? This is episode 2 footage, no? He got hurt in episode 3.
To see Neil, a once formal member of the Nighthawks, no longer
Old
suitable to handle
Neil.
cases anymore.
Let's go, the
He
goat.
had refused to be a keeper of the Chanis Gate, so now he simply spent his days accompanied by his documents and records. Documents was sent to help him.
I like
arrange
old
here.
Neil.
This would first be after Dunn had given him his advance payment, since as someone who's seen his place, Dunn felt Klein needed an upgrade.
Oh, that's why he gave the money in advance. So Don Smith's just like, oh, you're a brokey, your house is really bad, I'm gonna give you upfront payment. Aw, thank you, Don Smith.
He also needed to purchase a cane and a new suit too.
Nice.
It was that.
That's gonna be reimbursed. Oh, wait. Reimbursement, you use your own money first, and then bring the receipt to Don Smith and he reimburses it. So you still need money in the beginning, okay.
And that Klein would turn to head to Old Neil's, but 2 more times Dunn would interrupt him to remind him of something else. For protection, he needed to carry some
It's a fancy weapon, though.
hunting bullets, then for practice
Oh yeah, these bullets, by the way, work against spirits. They're like special bullets.
go to the range and fire 30 regular bullets daily. The police owned their own underground shooting range,
That's
part
cool.
of which could be used by the Nighthawks. So this was all part of making Klein ready for his next tasks. After this was a cutscene introducing the character Oriana, since
Oriana? I haven't seen her in the Donghua, right? Under injury in episode 5. Don Smith needs to catch a break, man.
she was the accountant who would give Klein his pay.
Ah.
How did she end up working for the Nighthawks? Well, that's a story not too different from Klein's. You see, it was 16 years ago that a serial killer was terrorizing the city,
Oh shit.
butchering women in a series of gruesome murders.
That sounds familiar. That's like the guy. What's his name? I wonder if it's influenced by that guy. You know the guy? The serial killer in London in like the 1700s?
That left them gutted. Oriana was about to
Maybe that story is inspired by that killer. Anyway.
be that killer's 6th victim, up until the Nighthawks had saved her.
Damn.
As it turns out, this butcher was a Beyonder, and his numerous victims were all part of a sadistic ritual preparation for the devil.
Okay.
Well, Oriana was luckily spared from it, and it was ever since that she'd been working for the Nighthawks.
She got saved by the Nighthawks.
It was while Oriana was sharing all that Klein would also be admiring the money he was given.
Yeah.
As someone so absurdly passionate about it, Klein couldn't help but take in the money's magnificence. He
Yep.
would also recount the figures imprinted on it, both of which were former monarchs. There was Henry
Loan monarchs. Interesting. I want to learn more about the Loan Kingdom, you know what I mean?
Augustus I, who Klein felt an indescribable closeness
Augustus the First.
to, then William Augustus VI, the man
It looks like the William the Conqueror from history.
responsible for freeing the Loan Kingdom from the shackles of the Old Order.
I
He
see.
had a-
Oh. Interesting. So he kind of like overthrew the. Oh, it's like William the Conqueror. Hello.
Enabled his nation to regain its spot at the top. So,
That's
that
cool.
was all the tidbits of lore from prior to Klein's meeting with Neil, an encounter which would introduce the Emperor Roselle more.
Oh my god, he looks so menacing. Every time I see Roselle, he's so scary, by the way.
When it came to his lost diaries, the reason so many copies existed was because many believed Roselle never actually died. They
What if he didn't?
instead think
What if he reached, like my theory is that when you reach sequence 1 you become like a god, for example like Evernight Goddess. What if he became sequence 1 in his pathway?
he became a god himself,
Yeah! I said it before they said it.
hidden from society but still worth worshipping.
What if? What if? What if, chat? What if? Path to divine, path to divine, path to divine.
It was
Keep
at
saying
all
it, Path
these
to the
cult
Vine.
rituals the Nighthawks would occasionally find Roselle's notebooks,
Damn, I think it is actually true. I will write that theory down later. Imagine if Roselle is still alive, by the way.
leading to the ones Neil has in possession here. Now, the records Klein read were pretty much the same in the novel, but the one about the guy trapped in a deep darkness also mentioned he could approach reality on the day of the full moon every month.
Oh. Let's read this. 18th of November. Truly a fascinating matter. A blue sky experimentation and a chance mistake made me discover the pathetic fellow, lost and trapped in the deep darkness amid the storms. He can only approach the reality of this world on the day of the full moon every month. Yet he is unable to transmit his cries. He's lucky to have met me, the protagonist of this era. Leonard keeps calling himself that. He can only approach the reality of this world on the day of the full moon every month. That's kind of sounds like a werewolf. Yet he's unable to transmit his cries. He's lucky to have met me. It's like Leonard writing it. What the fuck?
Approach reality on the day of the full moon every month. His entry about potions highlighted the importance of acting, as well
Wait, did Roselle call himself the protagonist of this era, or did Leonard do that? Or both of them are doing that?
as the name of the potion being the key to digestion.
Ah, that's the note that he read, the acting method. I see. Why are my children so stupid? Why are my children so stupid? I repeated myself so many times. Oh my god, this guy is so insufferable. Fucking, he's so insufferable. Imagine calling your children stupid. Do not be fooled by those charlatans. Oh my god. The key thing about potions is not about grasping them, but digesting them. It's nothing about tapping powers, but acting. And the name of potion is not solely symbolic at its core, but a concrete imaginary and the key to digestion. Oh my god, he's calling his children stupid in his own diary. What the fuck?
leading to the much the reality on the day of the full moon every month. His entry about potions highlighted the importance of acting,
Yeah.
as well as the name of the potion being the key to digestion. The next entry came from 9 months later, and that was the news of an opposition forming against him.
Oh, L. Deserved. An alliance opposing me has been established. Facesuck from the north, Loan from the east, Feina Potter from the south. Roselle versus everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, my enemies have finally joined forces, but I have no fear. I will use facts to teach them that the generations of weapons and knowledge cannot be compensated by mere numbers and low-grade sequencers. Besides, it is not as though I do not have subordinates. As for the higher grades, have they forgotten who I am? Oh my god, Roselle. He was the ruler of Intis kingdom, right? So he was so bad. I mean, he literally introduced colonialism. And that's emperor, sorry. And he got so many enemies probably because of that. He was building an empire, making a lot of enemies. So everyone was like, ugh, we had enough of this Roselle guy. We're going to overthrow him. Also, he is probably a really high sequence beyonder because he specifically says, ugh, low-grade sequencers. Like it's a slur, you know? That the generations of weapons and knowledge cannot be compensated by mere numbers and low-grade sequencers. Also, I do think, and we know that by the way, that Roselle kinda regrets his pathway choice, right? Because he was saying, I would rather be, what were the other ones that he said? He would rather chosen Seer, Marauder, or Apprentice pathway. Leonard is a Roselle Glazer as well. No, actually, damn.
With the Facesuck in the north, the Loan from the east, and the Feina Potter in the south,
Feina
all
Potter.
Roselle's enemies had joined together to fight him. Still, Roselle was confident he would come out on top, mentioning
Protagonist
something
of
about
this
higher
era.
grade sequences. His next entry was about losing communication with a ship seeking the Forsaken Land of the Gods, then the one after was about
Interesting. I have lost communications with the ship seeking the Forsaken Land of God. I should consider inventing wireless telegraphs. Hope it will not be affected by the storm. Bro, he was onto stuff. I mean, Leonard keeps reading Roselle's poems and books, right? We know that from earlier. You love Roselle? Maybe I will like him later, but right now he's insufferable. His poems are stolen from Roselle, exactly. So I have lost communication with the ship seeing the Forsaken Land of God. The Forsaken Land of God, by the way, God uppercase, not gods. There are a lot of different gods. I think this is a really interesting detail we should not miss here. Maybe land of the original creator then? Is that what he means? But Forsaken Land of God. I wonder what's the significance of higher case God here, by the way. So he was seeking out the original creator, maybe. But we'll see.
with a ship seeking the Forsaken Land of the Gods, then the one after.
Aninius Sky says Land of the Gods. But the note says God. I'm confused. Did you guys catch that or not? Listen. Look, the text says Land of God.
Communication with a ship seeking the Forsaken Land of the Gods, then.
Did Aninius make a mistake here? It's gods. I think it's a significant difference, but okay.
It was about losing communication with a ship seeking the Forsaken Land of the Gods, then the one after was about a woman named Ithaca who he seemed to like more than Florena. That last one wasn't really that important, but all the others bore priceless information Klein could take advantage of. Digesting and acting were extremely significant, then this Forsaken Land of the Gods seemed quite important too.
We can undo the gods then. Let's
it
go
was
with
when
that.
Klein was brought back to reality that his inquiry for more entries led to quite the interesting revelation. You see, With not many Beyonder-related incidents happening anymore, there haven't been many opportunities to procure these types of resources.
Yeah, didn't they say
Potions were
that the Beyonder activity is down?
becoming more and more scarce since over the past few centuries, the monsters required to make them have become more just records and books. What I mean is that you'd be hard-pressed to find dragons, giants, elves, or even sea folk anywhere.
What? Sea folk? What? Why are sea folk so handsome? Or is this like a stock footage? Anyway.
This led to some jokes about creating the Fantastic Beasts Protection Association, then proceeded into the matter about getting
like species protected. I see.
bullets for his revolver. It's here where the anime starts to really branch off, since rather than segue immediately into Klein becoming a Beyonder himself, he instead leaves, runs into Leonard, who Klein
The poet who cannot write poetry.
quickly perceives as a little bit gay, then goes home to settle all his household affairs. There was an interesting line where
just a little bit, right? Sure, just a little bit, you know?
Leonard makes a random comment seemingly to no one, but that was just an action Klein didn't look very much into.
Oh.
Now, it was right.
Wait, what was the comment? We see it down in the subs. Did you manage to notice anything? Indeed, there's nothing special about him.
That was just an action Klein didn't look very much into.
Did I miss another sub here? No, I don't think so.
Now, it was right before Klein would leave the Nighthawks that he would first have a deeper conversation with Roseanne.
Oh, Roseanne.
The whole thing essentially fleshed out her, since Klein was asking questions pertaining to Beyonders while she was doing everything she could to convince him not to become one. Since her father was an unfortunate casualty of it, this whole realm of mystery was an area she disagreed with wholeheartedly. It was a sentiment backed by some rather wise words from her father. 2 weeks before he had sacrificed himself, he had mentioned how one should never think they can resolve hidden risks or combat by simply becoming more powerful or a higher sequence.
This is Klein should listen to this.
It was actually quite the opposite. In the end, death and
Wait.
To him, it was actually quite the opposite. In the end.
Oh shit! This is is this map of Tingen? This is pretty cool. It's really cool.
And death and insanity were the only two outcomes, and that was a fact which proved true for him especially. That's when Klein would insist he only wanted to know the basics, so
and we never got Roseanne's backstory in the Donghua.
After a bit of pushing, Roseanne would finally cave for him. She would reveal high sequence Beyonders were going extinct.
Oh.
There were only about 30 or so Beyonders in their entire city to begin with, but when it came to those who were really high up there, very few were still around anywhere these days. Then, for the Beyonders who were around, most were...
Also, maybe some Beyonders are unknown, so maybe there are more than we think. They are gonna be extremely rare, but they're still out there and we just don't know they're Beyonder.
We're only at sequence 9. Roseanne then spoke about the path the Church of the Evernight Goddess held once days. Then, for the Beyonders who were around, most were only at sequence 9.
Most.
Roseanne then spoke about the path the Church of the Evernight Goddess held full possession of, identifying their sequence 9 as the Sleepless. This was someone who
Damn, this is a scary image.
It's not like they didn't sleep at all, but unlike a normal person,
I need that
they
portion,
could get by
actually.
with only 3 to 4 hours of it during the day.
Damn.
Their other powers were the ability to see through darkness without any lights,
Yeah.
an increase in power the deeper into the night it was,
Yeah.
enhanced strength, intuition, and mental capacity when it was night, then an innate ability to detect unknown dangers that lay in the dark.
Conditional.
They weren't so strong as to possess any supernatural abilities though, so in order to fight monsters,
That starts
they
at
still
Midnight
relied
Poet, I think.
on bullets or other means.
I see, okay.
After
Most Sequence 9 people. Also Klein.
that was the Sequence 8 Midnight Poet, then beyond that was the Sequence 7 Nightmare.
Dunsmith.
These were the sequences Leonard and Dunn were at, and Dunn
Yeah, no, it's not. You can say it.
was one of only 2 Sequence 7s in the entire city.
Oh, Tingen. Who's the second Sequence 7 in Tingen? Arson? But Arson is in Backland. Oh, Simone. Dolly.
These were the sequences That was all Roseanne knew for that path, so Klein would then ask about more of the other Sequence 9s. He was looking for whichever allowed him to study and grasp more knowledge. If he could somehow end up on a path like that, then he figured he could leverage that to find a way back to his old life. Unfortunately, the only one Roseanne could recall was Mystery Prior, then an incomplete Sequence 7 title by the name of Spirit Medium. This would be all the information Klein could get, leading to his departure and eventful journey back home. It's here we get into quite a bit of cut content too, but the topics he deals with aren't entirely important. There was Klein's stop to purchase the cheapest yet most practical cane he could find, a review of the Lowen Kingdom's regulation on firearms and weapon permits, a brief moment practicing the draw of his gun over and over, then the reveal of his new job as a consultant to Melissa. Klein wanted to go out to eat to celebrate, but Melissa insisted he save his money instead. She was even against moving out too, since to her, their living conditions weren't as bad as they could be. This then led to a whole chapter of Klein trying to convince Melissa.
They're making the best from a worse, like a really bad situation though. Like, even though they live in the slums, their apartment is actually pretty nice. Or was.
Otherwise, citing reasons like societal expectations and marriages. Melissa was still way more concerned with financial stability, so this was a conversation the two would have to have later. For now, Klein
I wonder if you want to see that in the anime as well.
To deal with other matters, specifically the job interview which he now needed to withdraw from. This brings us to a scene in the university, and is actually the place where we first meet Azik. That, however, is a scene from episode 3, so we can leave that one for later. What comes next is probably the most important cut content so far, since it's a sequence of events earning Klein his spot as a Beyonder.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, this will be a very basic rundown. Just remember, Klein doesn't get to be a Beyonder just because he wants to. It's a position he first had to work for. As for the way he had earned it, well, in the novel, it was because of how he handled the man who was following him here.
We saw that in episode 1 as well, but they never touched on that in future episodes. I even had his name written down, bro. I think I deleted it now, but it was like stalker.
Beyond just stalking him on the street, and even went so far as to break into Klein's house. He had done so at a time when Klein was asleep, but thanks to a timely warning from Dunn in his dreams, Klein was able to wake up and force the man out. Leonard and Dunn then took care of things from there, revealing the man to be part of an ancient organization known as the Secret Order, an underground group established in the Fourth Epoch and related to the Solomon Empire. It was from them that the Antigonus notebook had originated, and it was only due to their negligence that it was lost.
In the anime, literally, we saw him in episode 1, and the next time we saw him was him being captured by Dunsmith, and we didn't see anything else. Like, you people who watch me as novel readers, like, how did you felt about that? Yeah, Jenkins. How do you feel about that?
Fourth Epoch and related to the Solomon Empire.
Yeah, we know that.
It was from them that the Antigonus notebook had originated, and it was only due to their negligence that it was lost. So it was this man who was tasked with retrieving it, unfortunately leading to his capture here. Now, normally the Secret Order was very difficult to deal with, so the fact Klein was able to assist with the capture of one of its members, well, that was a contribution worth rewarding. It's because of this that Dunn would present him with an offer very few were given.
Damn, okay.
He could either continue accumulating merit and wait to qualify as a worthy member of the fully complete Sleepless Path, or become a Beyond.
What is this, by the way?
He could either continue accumulating merit and wait to qualify as a worthy member of the fully complete.
What is this? This is creeping me out.
Beyonder now and choose one of the Sequence 9. Present him with an offer very few were given. He could either continue accumulating merit and wait to qualify as a worthy member of the fully complete Sleepless Path, or become a Beyonder now and choose one of the Sequence 9s from the 3 other incomplete paths they had. The first was the previously mentioned Mystery Priors, and that originated from a strictly confidential group known as the Moses Ascetic Order.
Yeah, we learned about the Nold Neil.
They were a strong-willed order centered around the maxim, do as you wish, but do no harm. Their sequence 9
Ah,
potion
but
granted a
Neil
rudimentary
keeps saying as
understanding
well.
of anything magic related, so that included witchcraft, astrology, and any other mystical knowledge.
I see.
Mystery priors also became knowledgeable in a great deal of magic rituals, but that opened the door to the ability to sense certain existences they maybe shouldn't. Beings hidden amongst matter they'd have to be careful around. Next was the corpse collector, and this gave anyone who digested it the same properties an undead would have. Unintelligent dead spirits would mistake them as one of their own. They would gain
That's
resistance to the
interesting.
cold decay and corrosiveness of death.
And I have a theory on Azik that we know now that Azik is on the corpse collector pathway. And my theory about Azik is that because he's like high sequence, like I'm thinking 5, 6, or maybe even 4, he might be immortal. And this is basically a walking corpse. We know that he just falls asleep after every 20 years and he forgets everything, or most of the stuff he forgets. We know that. But I think that's obviously because of his pathway. So I wonder if, I mean, there are so little Beyonders out there and so little high sequence Beyonders that, you know, I'm not surprised, for example, if there's only Azik is like that on that level so far.
Be able to see evil spirits and the characteristics or weaknesses of undead. So this was a path the church actually had the sequence 8 and 7 potions to as well, one you might recognize as
Kali.
Daly's spirit medium.
Yep.
Finally, there was the Seer path, and consuming this potion granted a
Ooh,
greater
what the
understanding of astromancy, cartomancy, spiritual pendulums, and scrying.
Oh, that's the fourth. Wait.
Granted a greater understanding of astromancy,
Divination that impress the positions and movements of celestial bodies. Okay.
cartomancy,
Yep.
spiritual
A divination tool used to access subconscious knowledge. Yep.
pendulums, and scrying.
Yep.
That didn't mean he'd understand all of them immediately, but it did grant him the ability to learn it. It was a path not necessarily suited for fighting, but in terms of knowledge and mysticism, it was far better than the mystery prior.
Yep.
The only setbacks were the incomplete combat well, the risk of losing control as a Beyonder, then the overall believability of Roselle's diaries. As stressful as such a choice was though, all that was incomparable to the terrible feeling of not being able to return to Earth again. You see, after recalling all these fond memories of his past life, Klein knew the only right path was the one forward. It was one only achievable by becoming a Beyonder. Fast forward past a couple chapters of Klein choosing his new house, moving out, then moving in, and that's when we finally get back to the Blackthorn Security Company. Klein would express his intent to become a seer, stating how the other pathways just didn't meet his requirements. Now, when I said taking the potion would only give Klein the ability to learn about mysticism, what I meant was that there would be 3 places from which the knowledge he was seeking would come from. The first was experimentation, summarization, and enhancements. The second would be from the gods themselves, then the third the dangerous murmurings and illusory enticements Beyonders were occasionally exposed to. There were sometimes cases where these mysterious voices would describe matters related to mysticism. Should one try to listen to those voices for a bit too long though, there was no doubt they'd eventually go mad, fall to corruption, then become monsters. It's for those who do unfortunately meet that fate that it's their notebooks that are usually filled with all sorts of valuable information. In any case, Klein taking this potion didn't make him a formal member of the Beyonder team. He was still to be a civilian staff member, simply because it would
Yeah, but that's where it's different in the Donghua, right?
take time to adapt to whatever power he develops. I mean, to go out and take part in paranormal missions right from the get-go, well, that would mean certain death for sure. When it came to building the potion itself, for sequences of 7 and below, those typically didn't require anything other than the exact ingredients, where
Also, we know that all these ingredients are getting more scarce now. And I wonder if the higher level potions, the higher sequence potion, like sequence 5, 4 potions, they require something crazy. And maybe that's why from earlier in this video when the Emperor Roselle sent people to the land of gods. Maybe he sent them there to look for ingredients for his potion. Maybe I'm trying to figure out why he sent them there.
Beyond that, one might have to participate in the ritual on a spiritual level.
Hmm.
For 7, 8,
Okay.
and 9, one simply needed to follow the formula and mix it.
Mhm.
In fact, not all the ingredients even needed to be exact, as for the Seer
Really?
potion in particular, it was only the last 2 that needed precise measurements.
Ah.
They could be
Okay.
slightly under by just a little bit,
That's
but
why
if
Neil
they were
said
ever
that.
too much, then anything from a mental breakdown to death could happen. So it's those last 2 ingredients that were put in with great precision, and it was once finished that Klein would proceed to ingest it.
Hmm.
The anime does a great job animating the
Yeah, it
entire
was sick.
process of it, but for those
That was
wondering why
really
he
good.
needed to envision what he did, it was also he could stabilize his mind and gain control again. By focusing on something he knew, he was
Yeah.
able to mitigate the potion's
had-
energy and reduce any seepage of it. Next, Neil taught him how to manage the physical manifestation of the potion's powers,
so
and this was
cool.
through a method called cogitation. It was a meditative state that converged the potion's powers inward. It was while in this state that Klein would be able to see and understand the truth, revealing knowledge only he himself could understand.
That's so cool, by the way, that he's standing on the full tarot
Knowledge only he
card.
himself could understand.
That
it
is
was-
so cool. Anyway.
It's a unique phenomenon classified as a mystic experience, something only possible while in this state of cogitation. Neil would then teach Klein spirit vision, one of the most foundational abilities for pretty much any Beyonder. It was a mystical power that
Yeah, spirit vision. Every Beyonder has that.
would allow him to perceive supernatural and non-physical phenomena.
Yep.
It wasn't a power one developed naturally, though, but was instead something he would have to train. So, first Neil would have him discover his aura, one of 4 non-physical parts split from a person's biological body. Aura was part of a person's ether body, and that reflected a person's physical health and emotion.
I still feel like the colors are all over the place, though. Like, does a specific body part and the color is different? Does it represent something else? Because it's like colors all like different places, not really mixed together.
On the deepest inner part was a person's soul body, and that referred to their spiritual core. Beyond that was the astral projection, and that was a person's spiritual connection to the cosmos.
Okay.
It was the part most commonly used for divinations and spellcasting.
Okay. Gotcha.
Finally, there was the body of heart and mind, and that was the connection to one's brain and mental capacity. For potions that improved one's analysis and observation, this would be the area it would typically
I'm
target.
digesting all the info right now. I'm digesting my reactor potion.
So, for now, Klein would be focused on aura, where every color he would see would indicate something different.
That was an old Neil lesson. This is really wait. Here he lays out that red limbs and motion related parts. Oh, so that my answer was like immediately answered. My question was immediately answered, which is really cool. Okay, gotcha. That's why the colors are not mixed in much. They're more like all over the place. Okay. And then make it stark and thin. That's why in the divination lab you said that guy looks like rough, because he had a lot of that dark and thin colors. To know the healthiness of someone by the aura, you need to see how bright it is. Ah, okay, gotcha. Take a screenshot for later. Yeah, I'm gonna add it to my information paint, so I can maybe make my notes better next time.
This applied to the astral projection level as well, meaning Klein should be able to easily read how a person was feeling too. Finally, he would see inanimate objects didn't emit spiritual traces like organic ones.
So so even it works on animals and also I'm guessing like evil spirits as
but
well.
materials from extraordinary beings did.
Ah,
Though the
okay.
creature it came from was dead, some of their leftover parts still carried what's called remnant spiritualities.
I see.
They were typically the parts most crucial to potion making. Now, I know episode 2 still has that whole part with Leonard and Klein, but considering how far behind I am and the isolated nature of that specific incident, I might skip ahead to focus on the incident with the clown.
Really, right
I
now
will
or
try my
next
best
video?
to keep making
Okay,
timely videos for this,
gotcha.
but there's just so much content it's hard to keep up with it. That said, I could skip ahead to the current episode, or I could stay where we're at and remain 4
Stay.
episodes behind. Either way, I should be able to keep it going weekly alongside the Overlord videos.
Let's go back because this part was a little bit confusing
To
as well,
envision
so
what
let's
he
go over it again,
did.
right?
It was also he could stabilize his
Here. Okay, so cognition is action of thinking deeply about something.
inward.
Yep.
It was
True.
while in this state
And then mystic
self could
experience.
understand. It was a unique phenomenon classified as a mystic experience.
Okay.
Something only possible while in this state of cogitation. Neil would then teach Klein spirit vision. One of the most foundational. First, Neil would have him discover his aura, one of 4 non-physical parts split from a person's biological body. Aura was part of a person's ether body, and that reflected a person's physical health and emotion. On the deepest inner part was a person's soul body, and that referred to their spiritual core. Beyond that was the astral projection, and was a person's spiritual connection to the cosmos.
So I'm guessing Klein here, and Klein as a person has a very deep spiritual connection to the cosmos, because I think Grey Fog has to do something with astral projection. That's what I'm thinking, maybe. God, I don't know though. Like, I think it's gonna be multiple seasons, maybe 4 or 5 seasons until we can find out what the Grey Fog is. But I think it all comes down to the basic knowledge of how the body works. So I think this is a really important info, which I will also be writing down so we get more theories in the future about this as well, right?
It was the part most commonly used for divinations and spellcasting.
Yeah, because remember how he first time when he went to the Grey Fog, he did this luck enchantment all again with the food and stuff. And then he got the 4 dots on his hand, which means he doesn't have to bring the food again, right? So there were some things that also were translated in my server, by the way. For example, there's a map, and people posted that from Reddit, I guess, from my server. So we're gonna look at that in a second. I'll pull that up. But yeah, like these notes from Roselle were really interesting, right? And we had a bunch of those notes in the last cut content video as well. Which, you know, I kind of lost some respect for Leonard after I realized that Leonard is a big Roselle glazer. Big Roselle glazer. Very big. So I don't really... man, but Leonard is so hot. Anyway, and also about the ship sending the Land of Gods. I wonder if we're ever going to find out what he meant. These are Roselle's words, by the way. Which now, I feel like if he is dead, but there's a theory out there, not only my theory, some people of this world also believe that Roselle ascended to godhood and then is still alive, right? I wanna pose official theory, my theory, that he reached sequence 1 of some kind of... Guys, listen, what if he reached sequence 1 of Savant, became the god of craftsmanship, and then renamed his own religion to steam and machinery? Because we talked about that in the old Neil video as well. You guys are laughing at me again. What if he's truly the protagonist of his era? Anyway, but then we also learned that everyone literally went against him, started attacking him, everyone. And it's probably because of colonialism that everyone hated him, right? And yeah, there's no confirmation of his death, and there's a theory among people, as Aninius said, that he became a god. Anyway,